There are as many worlds as there are kinds of days, and as an opal changes its colors and its fire to match the nature of day, so do I. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tiltingground Untitled Notre Dame USC football podcast. I'm Michael Muto. I'm here with Greg Falong. Hi, Greg.
Hey, Michael.
All right, so we're back after a little couple weeks absence here, and let's just start with news. I mean, the USC gave us the biggest news just right off the bat. This is actually current for as we're recording, pretty much. Pat Hayden is retiring as the athletic director at USC. Start laughing. Just start laughing now.
Man, when I saw this, I was at first annoyed because, like you, Michael, I was thinking, we have to talk about recruiting this week. Like, we can't be talking about Pat Hayden because this could be its own podcast, really. Just like an hour of how ridiculous it is, like that Pat Hayden retires, or announces his retirement like 2 months after he signed the coach to a 5-year contract. And then I was like overjoyed at how ridiculous it was. And then I felt a little bad for you because, like, if this was my team, like if Notre Dame pulled something like this, like I would end up like arrested or like in the hospital or something.
I believe the email you sent me was ha ha ha, but about 4 lines of it.
Yeah.
So I think your feelings sum it up pretty well.
It was great. It was really great.
I just can't believe it. When I did the podcast with Alicia from Raina Troy, I don't remember if it made it to the podcast or not. I just jokingly said, yeah, Greg and I have a little podcast pool about when Pat Hayden's going to retire. And, I just kind of made the offhand remark, like, I give him at least a season. I think Greg has less. That guy didn't even make it through recruiting. That's so terrible.
It's so great. And it's, like the whole thing about like how he didn't really like do a search for a coach. I mean, we're talking about one of the premier programs in college football, and they go 5-4 with Clay Helton. And I remember talking to you about it. I don't know if it was on the pod or just off air, but just like, what do they have to do to keep Clay Helton? And we're like, they have to go undefeated. Or if they don't go undefeated, like they have to lose like one game to like Notre Dame or Stanford or Oregon or something. They can only lose once. And they ended up losing 4 times. And he still hired him without like waiting for anyone else. I mean, Mark Richt became available.
Yep.
Like Chip Kelly became available. I mean, there are people out there. The Justin Fuente guy, the guy from Memphis, like he became available. Like these are guys who have been head coaches and shown, like Tom Herman, like maybe they could have thrown some money at him, the guy from Houston, like.
Yeah, who knows?
You have people out there who, I mean, have shown like great success at the Division I level, and you go with a guy who went 5-4.
I mean, the real problem for me, whatever, hire Clay Helton, like that's, what's done is done. But the real problem is, so you hire this coach, and then you quit, but the new guy is going to come in and not like the coach. I mean, now you're really hoping that Clay Helton, he has to make Pac-12 title games. He has to make big-time bowl games. He has to be in the playoffs. Like, this new AD is going to be like, well, that's not my coach. This guy's gone. I don't care. Like, it's just the program on such a rocky footing, just right from the get-go.
It totally is. I mean, like, the players can't feel good about, I mean, if they go 8-4 next year, I mean, you got to think like, well, I mean, this isn't going to be our coach.
Right. And you know that.
And
you just know
that.
Yeah,
like, I don't know that it matters. Like, there's definitely no stability there. but the thing is though is like I don't think if there was, you know how the old adage goes, like you don't commit to a coach, you commit to a school.
Right.
I don't know that there's ever like if that's ever been more true than this year. I don't think that like they got a bunch of guys signed up because they really believe in Clay Helton.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they could. When we get there, when we actually get to recruiting, I do have some.
All right, that's fine. I mean, it's just not my. I mean, because I saw something, and we'll get to it, but I guess we'll just save it. But yeah, it just doesn't like. I just don't get it. Like he like, and he had to know. You know what I'm saying? Like this didn't just come up. Like he had to have been thinking, like I'm gonna retire soon. Like I don't want to deal with this anymore. And he still went along with this pseudo search and signing him to a 5-year guaranteed deal.
Right. I mean, you just have to.
Like,
if you really care about the program, you just have to gut it out and handle another year.
Not even gut it out. Just like say, like I'm stepping down. Like I'm gonna step down. Like someone else needs to conduct this search. Like there needs to be someone else. Like you said. Like if you really care about the football program, like you need to do better.
And he did not. So I feel good that we killed him all year long, and it kind of, we were right.
It totally came to fruition. Like everything that you said, like he didn't see it through. He never took accountability. He signs the coach, and then it's just like, all right, I'm out. Like, good luck.
I'm going to get paid, though, to help the Rams move into the Coliseum.
Totally ridiculous.
I know. So I assume the new athletic director is going to be an in-house hire? It just seems like it's par for the course.
Well, I mean, who was maybe Slick Pete wants to do it.
That'd be the dream, I think. I feel like he has a couple more NFL seasons in him. But Marshawn Lynch did retire, so
you never know. You never know, Michael.
Sneaky Pete, he's left like a thief in the night before, so he could do it to the Seahawks.
You never know.
Let's go to some happier news for your team. Brian Kelly got an extension.
Yeah, like with about a week left before signing day, he signed a 6-year deal. Yeah,
which is the exact opposite of what's happening at USC.
The opposite of what's happening at USC. Like, there's actually some continuity going on at Notre Dame. Not that it really matters. Like, it hasn't really paid dividends. Like,
it can't hurt, though.
No. Look, I've been calling for this forever, and, like, this whole thing about, like, the popular thing about Notre Dame fans is, like, well, we're in year 6, and all they've done is, like, they've only had one 12-win season and only the one 10-win season. It's like, look. There's been so much that's gone on with Notre Dame in the last, like, 25 years with, like, constant turnover, like, never knowing who the coach is going to be, like, coaching staffs in and out. It's like at some point, like, there has to be a plan of, like, okay, this is what we're going with. And look, if Brian Kelly, like, Notre Dame fans are, they look at him and they think, oh, well, he's not anything special. And it's like, maybe that's not true. But then, like, imagine if he came on the market.
He'd get hired in 2 seconds.
I feel like not only would he get hired in 2 seconds, but like real programs, like Texas. Like, you don't think Texas would jump at Brian Kelly? Like, they would go right after him. There's no question in my mind.
Yeah, he'd get hired faster than Mark Richt. Like
Miami, exactly, totally. He absolutely would. So, I think Notre Dame fans, I think they should feel like just lucky.
He's good too. It's not like he's just some guy who won some games. Like, I think he's a pretty good coach.
Yeah, and he's not. Look, no one knows more than me. Like, he's not perfect. Like, he doesn't know when to go for 2. Okay, so it's not like I'm comparing him to Nick Saban or Urban Meyer or Jim Harbaugh and things. It's not that. I'm just saying, like, at Notre Dame right now, they need stability, and I think that they have it now. They have a solid coaching staff, one that they haven't had for a really long time. Like, they're set up now. Like, this is their best chance to make a little run. So I'm very happy with everything that went on there with the extension and all that.
Well, good for Brian Kelly. Let's take that segue, the Notre Dame coaching staff, and move right on to the recruits. I want I want to say one thing before we get to the recruits. I'm not a big fan of recruiting rankings and recruiting services, and I it's fun for the kids. I like that they get to make videos, and that's the one time they have the power and they get to have fun press conferences. I get that, but
Right.
I just wish all the kids good luck. It's a little weird for me to pin my hopes onto some 17-year-old kid as an adult. So I just hope everyone pans out and has a good college career, and I wish all the recruits the best of luck. I know that's a little sappy, but I really do. I know they're just kids. I think we forget that sometimes.
Well, generally speaking, like I don't like everything is going to be very positive, right? Like
Yeah.
like when you talk about players, it's like you're always thinking about like what they could be, because they could. Like you don't
You're
like
never like, this guy
you
sucks.
yeah, like you don't like the trash players or anything. Like you watch them play and it's like, you never know what they'll turn into. So you always accentuate the positive. I mean, there are obvious flaws in the recruiting rankings anyway, which I'll kind of bring up here. So, but yeah, I mean, but the thing about the rankings is like they provide some sort of, I don't know, measure,
Yeah.
something to say like, hey, this class did this class did that.
So Notre Dame had some good rankings. They had, I saw a couple places had them in the top 10. ESPN had them at 13. Scouts had them like right outside the top 10. Like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good for Notre Dame.
Yeah, I'm going by 247 Sports just because they do like a composite thing where they look
Okay.
at all the sites, and they kind of put it all together and they have this number system that I don't really feel like looking at or like how they figure it out. But
I trust them.
yeah, whatever, it's fine. They have Notre Dame at 15th, which is it's. Honestly, like we say, the rankings are nothing, but really, like you'd like Notre Dame to be higher, just because there is a high correlation between success and recruiting rankings.
Right.
But then you look at the players, and you're like, well, like I kind of understand. I mean, Notre Dame's done pretty well, finding guys who are like 3 stars or 4 stars, and of course 5 being the maximum, and kind of identifying like, okay, like that guy, like the analysts think that this guy's a 3 or 4 star, and turns out we think he's better. A perfect example is like Will Fuller. Like some sites had him as a 3-star player. Obviously not.
Obviously.
Same with Josh Adams. Like last year he was like a 3-star for a little bit, then he came a 4-star, and he comes in and breaks the Notre Dame freshman rushing record. So
Good job recruiting. So who's in charge of Notre Dame's recruiting? Do you know?
the recruiting coordinator is Mike Elston. He's the linebacker coach.
Okay.
And it's really funny because like I was very unhappy with the way the linebackers played this year. And like throughout the year, I was thinking, man, like this guy needs to, they need to upgrade from him basically. But then I thought he did a really good job as the recruiting coordinator. So it's kind of one of those things where like maybe Brian Van Gorder needs to kind of duel with him at the linebacker position. And those two can kind of work on the same position so that the position group improves and then Mike Elston can still run the recruiting. Because I thought he did, a really good job. So he's a recruiting coordinator. Just some specifics. So they signed 23 players.
It's a lot. It's a big class, right?
It's not a full class, and they could actually add one more, what I'll get to later. But the 25 is technically a full class.
Right.
But they were able to add a few more players because like they expected a small class, but they were able to add a few more players because guys like Will Fuller, CJ Prosise left early. So I think they were only thinking they were going to get 18, and they ended up with 23, and they're going to be able to they might be able to get a 24th.
Yes.
One thing that's kind of fun about Notre Dame is they're pretty national recruiting, so they signed like of the 23 guys that represents 10 states.
Yeah, I saw.
And
There's all different states on here when I put the list together.
yeah, and there's actually one guy from Canada, which
Yeah,
is
that's
pretty
real
fun.
fun.
It's totally cool.
You're international.
I actually think he's really good too.
Is he?
I think so.
But he's from Canada. I mean, how can you tell? Do they even play football?
They do. First of all, if you watch his film, the guys he's playing with are awful. I mean,
I
they're
did
not
actually watch
good.
his film. That's kind of funny. I
Yeah,
didn't everybody's, but I did watch the Canadian guys.
they're not good. I think for me, it's more that he's like 6'5" and
Yeah, he looked
225.
real big compared to those high school kids.
Yeah, and he's like a crazy athlete. Like he averages like 50 points a game in basketball, and he's like dunking on these poor Canadian kids who like for some reason aren't playing hockey. So yeah, like I just like his skill set. I think he's going to be great at some position. I don't know if it'll be receiver. It could be linebacker. It could be defensive end. Whatever it is, like I just think he's going to be a great player.
So
His name's
Chase
Claypool, by the way.
It's a good name.
Chase Claypool, yeah.
There's a lot of good names on both Notre Dame and USC's recruiting list here. Also, a lot of Joneses.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's just get right into it. Who are your favorites? Who's your favorite guy? Like who do you think will pan out? I guess at Notre Dame. Who are you most excited for?
Well, I like safeties.
I do know that.
And this guy is not only one of my favorite players, but he's also one of my favorite like sleepers. His name is Devin Studstill. And he's a safety from Florida, Palm Beach Gardens. He's a 3-star player. I think that he's first of all, he's an early enrollee, so like he's already on campus. And I think he has a chance to start, to be honest with you.
I mean, those safeties were not very good, so.
Right, and Shoemate's gone. So I think that he can either start next to Redfield or just take his spot outright. Because, frankly, I don't even know what's going on with Max Redfield right now. Like, I don't know where he's at with the team as far as like being suspended and everything. Like, I don't know. But all I know is Devin Studstill. He's 6'1". He makes plays all over the place. Like, he's a ball hawk. Like, that's the one thing. Like, if you watch his film, he's always around the ball. He plays multiple positions. He does a thing which I think is really fun. How, like, he'll make a big play, and he'll look at, like he'll be next to the opposing team, like their bench, and he'll, like, talk trash to the coaches.
That's pretty terrible.
I'm really into that. I'm really like, how dare you even try to run over here? Like, what are you thinking? Or something like that. So I think he's a really good player. Another guy that I think is one of my favorites. I guess it's a favorite just to, I don't know, I guess sleeper.
Like who you're excited for, right?
Yeah, like I'm excited for Julian Love. He's a corner from Illinois.
Great name, by the way. Julian Love, great name.
Yeah, and like you watch his film and he played like every position. So first of all, like I like it when they win state championships.
Okay.
Like if you are the man on a state championship team, like that makes me happy. Cuz it's like you can carry the load, you know what I'm saying? Like you're responsible for this team's success and then you go out and win. Like I feel like that's a really good trait to have. And Julian Love, like he played running back, he played slot back. I think they put him in the Wildcat a little bit, and then he played safety. He played in the nickel, and then they put him in this like hybrid, like in the middle, almost like a middle linebacker, and they would just send him on middle blitzes all the time.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he returned punts, he returned kickoffs, like, all of it. Like, he did everything.
And his team
And
won.
his team won. And he was a 3-star. And I think the reason he's a 3-star because he was only 5'10", and he projects as a corner. So, like, being 5'10" now is out at corner, unless you're going to run like a 4-3.
Right.
Well, the word is that he actually grew.
Shut up.
So, but no, I mean, it's not, it's, you know.
I mean, it happens. It's
like,
not like out of the question.
Yeah, like between 17 and 18, he grew like 2 inches. So now he's like 6 foot. And it's like all of a sudden he's not 5'10" anymore. And like that 2 inches makes a big deal to people. So like everyone's like super excited about him. And then my last one is, I guess I'll pair 2 guys together. So actually I have, I guess, 3 more. There's 2 linemen, Tommy Kramer and Liam Eichenberg.
All the linemen were very highly ranked, right? I mean, all the guys Notre Dame got were real good prospects.
Especially Kramer and Eichenberg. Those 2 guys they're both from Ohio, and Ohio State wanted both of them like really bad, and like they were trying to like call them, like they've been committed for a long time, and they kept trying to call, and it just wasn't happening. So yeah, I mean, I just like to, they took 2 guys from Ohio State.
I mean, you got to feel good that Notre Dame is like lineman U now. The guys just know, like, oh, I want to be a good offensive lineman. I go to Notre Dame.
Their offensive line recruiting is the best part of their like whole operation. Like they just pick out whoever they want and they get them.
Well, and their guys are good when they get to the pros. Like that usually helps.
That is good. You're selling a good product there. And my last guy is Javon McKinley, the receiver from Centennial High School in California. I mean, besides the fact that he's great, like he didn't go to USC, which is even better.
He what?
He didn't go to USC.
Oh, that is like a big get for the Fighting Irish.
I mean, he played for Corona. Like, since when does a guy who plays for the best team in Southern California and as a junior catches 91 passes for 1,900 yards and like 30 touchdowns? Like, since when does that guy go to Notre Dame?
Starting now, I guess. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. So,
or Sarkisian. It's probably not Sarkisian, actually.
Yeah.
I feel like you got to put the work in early.
Yeah, so those are my favorite players.
No, the other guy Notre Dame stole from USC, Dalen Hayes.
Dalen Hayes. He's more of like the guy that I'm most excited about, I guess. Like he's not like a favorite or anything. Like okay. I like those other guys, just kind of like there's things about them that
that makes sense.
Like they just resonate. But like with Dalen Hayes, it's like he's a guy that like it almost worries me how good he can be because I feel like Notre Dame's gonna blow it.
Like there's waste his talent, or he won't be good, or something.
Well, I just feel like they wasted Dalen.
Right.
They just totally wasted him. Like, what did they get out of him? He was there for 3 years. He was an awesome player, and they didn't get anything out of it.
All right. So who do you? So I mean, I guess your favorites are kind of like your sleepers. Any other sleepers? Any other low touted guys?
Well, I wrote an article about it for UHND. Like the sleeper category. Another guy is Jalen Elliott. I think they want him to play safety. He's from Virginia, and he was going to be committed to Virginia Tech. And then Notre Dame offered, and then he jumped on it right away. He flies under the radar because he had to play quarterback for his high school team. And when you watch him, like, he's not a quarterback at all. Like, he's like basically he's just like piecing it together. But as a junior, like, he won a state championship playing quarterback.
Oh wow, that's really impressive.
So that's another thing that's like, super competitive, right? Like it's like, yeah, I don't care what position I'm playing, we're winning. Like we're winning state, you know. So like, I think that's a great trait for him. But he's gonna play safety, and like he didn't play a lot of safety as a senior because he had to play quarterback. So I think that he, I don't know. I know the coaches are really excited about him. Like I know they're excited about everybody, but like I think they think he can play early.
That's cool.
As a freshman. And then
all right, so good segue.
who's
Who's gonna play as a freshman?
Um,
Who's gonna start?
so
I guess, or has a chance of starting? That's a better question.
we already said studs still. So there's that. If I had to guess, someone who might start, I think Dalen Hayes has a chance to start.
I mean, probably the Notre Dame linebacker is not their strong point.
Well, here's the thing: is that he might not play linebacker.
Oh, what would he play? Like outside linebacker, like edge rusher?
He might be like a defensive end. And we were talking right before we came on. We were talking about the Super Bowl, and I tweeted out today like, if there's a ceiling for Dalen Hayes, it's Von Miller.
Pretty high praise there.
It's not like he's going to turn into like the MVP of the Super Bowl or anything, but like that's what his skill set is.
Just like an edge rusher who's really fast, like not really a linebacker, but you can still cover guys. You could.
Yeah, like apparently right now he's like 255. And
That's big enough to play on the edge.
Yeah, so he's like 6'4", 255, and it's like he just entered college. Like he's still technically like a high school senior. So like, but I don't know that he's gonna get like super big. Like he's not gonna get up into like the 280s or anything. But he'll probably settle around like 250, like 255, 260. And it's like that's right around Von Miller's size. But like when you watch him like on film, like he's out there covering receivers and he's out there running around in space. So I think if they could get him on the edge, it's weird. I don't know that he would ever like start a game, but like he'll be out there all the time.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and I see that from Studstill. I see that from either Julian Love or this kid Troy Pride, who's another corner, who is just like he's just kind of a lockdown. Like he could come in and win the opposite corner spot, like just outright.
Okay.
So like everyone else, like they have a lot of good players, like Khalid Kareem at defensive end. Like I could see him starting a game or two. But the good thing about Notre Dame now is that they have a pretty good roster. So like they don't really need guys to come in and play.
Which is nice.
Or come in and start anyway.
Right. I mean everyone needs good players. Like let's not
of course.
be crazy here.
Right.
So who was the guy? I didn't write his name down and I forgot it right now, and we alluded to him earlier. Who's the guy that didn't sign on signing day and he has to take his test to make sure he can get into college? He's a receiver from Georgia. What's that story?
Demetrius Robertson.
Yes.
I don't even know how to describe it to you. So basically, he's like a 5-star receiver. Like he's a star. Like he's a stud. He's really good. And like everyone's saying, like he's the best like offensive recruit since like the Rocket. And so he was previously committed to Alabama, like a long time ago. Then he decommitted. He visited Notre Dame for the Texas game. He visited Cal. Did we mention he's from Georgia?
You think so, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so he's from Georgia. So he visited Notre Dame. He visited Cal.
That's weird.
He visited Georgia Tech like the week before signing day. He has canceled 3 visits to Alabama, like all within the last like month. So he said he was going to Alabama, and then he canceled the visit. And then they rescheduled for the next week, and he canceled that visit. and then he rescheduled again, and he canceled again. He said he was going to visit Georgia last weekend, and he didn't. And around this time, like a week before signing day, like you started to get word like he's going to go beyond signing day. And all the while, like some of these guys on like BGI and 247, the Notre Dame 247 site, like they're all predicting like they think he's going to go to Notre Dame. And I'm just kind of like, the way this is going about, like I just don't see how he's going to go. Like they don't get kids who waffle around like this, you know, like they just generally don't. Especially when they're up against like Georgia and Alabama. So there is no like end in sight.
Okay.
Supposedly he's visiting either Georgia or Alabama this weekend. And like you said, like he's all along listed Stanford as his leader, but he had to take the SAT like 3 weeks ago just to get a score that qualifies him to get into Stanford, and even that might not be good enough. So like apparently Stanford isn't even like recruiting him. Like
but he wants to go there? That's funny.
And he wants to go there. He's never been there. But he wants to go and he wants to visit. And it's like everything is being held up by this SAT score that may or may not qualify him for the school.
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean, he's talking about pushing it to like the 19th. And, okay, so I guess, Notre Dame's still in it. A lot of people think that he's going to go there.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like.
I personally don't see it. Like,
I feel like this guy can do anything, really.
Yeah, like anything can happen. Like, honestly, he could go USC.
No, they have enough wide receivers.
So?
I know, right?
Anything's possible.
All right, well, speaking of USC, good, thank you there for that.
Mm-hmm.
The Trojans also had a signing day this week with a bunch of new recruits coming in. And I was pleasantly surprised. I was very doom and gloom going into this one. I thought that with Clay Helton as kind of the interim coach, and just the season didn't go that hot. I thought that USC was going to not do that well, and they had a top 10 class by some outlets. They did a great job. T. Martin was named Recruiter of the Year.
Oh my goodness.
Which is pretty impressive.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so good job, offensive coordinator T. Martin. And yeah, like they did a pretty good job. It went way better than expected. They only had 20 kids because 5 were blue shirts from this season. So like the punter, like the backup punter was a blue shirt. I can't think of his name right now. One of the wide receivers who was a freshman, he was a blue shirt. So one of the tight ends was a blue shirt. So those scholarships count for this recruiting class, even though the players were already on the team.
Mm.
Here we go. Deontay Burnett and Taylor McNamara were the 2 guys I was thinking of. And then like a couple other guys were blue shirts as well. No big deal. No one I've ever really heard of.
Gotcha.
So good for them. I think the big exciting part of this recruiting class for me are the receivers. I mean, there's a ton of them, and a lot of the guys came in early too, which is even more fun. But they got a guy named Velus Jones Jr. from Alabama, which is a great name.
Yeah,
great. It's probably one of the better names around. They got 2 wide receivers.
Didn't he flip to another school and then flip right back?
Yeah, I think the week of signing day, he said he was going to go to Oklahoma, and then like a couple days later, he signed with USC.
I remember seeing it on Twitter, and it was like, it's like, pleased to announce, like, I'm committed to the Oklahoma Sooners, like Boomer Sooner. And then 2 days later, it was like, USC Trojans coming back home, shutting down my recruitment.
T. Martin.
Yeah. It was
Recruiter
great.
of the Year. They got They got two wide receivers from Bishop Vermont, Trayvon and Tyler, which is great. They have similar names. I heard inside sources on this one that they are great kids. That
Oh,
they're good guys. I was talking to a teacher at Bishop Vermont recently. He brought it up to me. He said, "Hey, you still doing that USC podcast?" I said, "Thanks." He said, "You'll love the kids that are going to USC. They're great guys." I said, "Oh, cool." Um, who else is on the fun list? Oh, Michael Pittman Jr. from Oaks Christian. He's already on campus. I'm excited about him.
yeah.
They have a guy from Georgia whose name I can't say. Josh Immatrue. Nope, it's not going to happen. Sorry, Josh. um,
Josh Emma.
yeah, Big J.I. And then there's an athlete from Florida. His name's Keyshawn Young. And I got an athlete named Keyshawn, USC. I'm all in.
In.
All in. So I really like the receiver class. We mentioned it a lot last year that the receivers, they just weren't, you think they're there, but they actually weren't because Adoree Jackson's not that great of a receiver. And then anyone after Juju Smith-Schuster. It just really wasn't that helpful. So I'm excited for all these guys. I think I got them all. And they're just weapons. They're weapons for whoever's going to play quarterback. And hopefully they air it out and just throw to all these wonderful young wide receivers.
No, they did have like a real hole there. We talked about it like almost every week.
There's no explosive players on offense besides the two guys.
This class is pretty concerning for me.
A lot of
athletes. I'll tell you why. Like if they had gotten like three guys, you can find 3 busts in there, right?
Yeah.
It's just like that's the nature of it. But they've got like 6. Like at least a couple of those guys are going to be really good.
Yeah, they just have to be, right?
Yeah, I mean they can't miss on all of them. So.
And they're gonna get run. So.
Exactly. The other one that kind of freaks me out is this Alawole Batiku cat.
Oh, the D lineman from Sarah?
Yeah. He's kind of good.
Yeah, he's supposed to be real good. And a lot of the D linemen left this year, so.
He looks like a man.
I do always like that when a 17-year-old kid just looks like a full-blown adult.
He looks like someone's dad who plays like in the NFL. Like he does not look like he's 18 or 19 or however old he claims to be.
The Sarah High School USC connection just keeps on giving.
Oh my God.
But yeah, hopefully he's a stud.
Why can't Notre Dame have these schools that like guaranteed their players are going to go there? Like they got another guy from Long Beach Poly too, Jack Jones.
We'll get to him.
He's like another really good receiver who's playing defensive back.
Yeah. Well, when I was putting the list together for both the teams, I just we live in California, so of course we know all the high schools in California. I'm like, oh, that's really fun. Bishop Vermont, Mater Dei, Long Beach Poly, Sarah, Oaks Christian, like all these heavy hitters. And then I look at the Notre Dame guys, and it's like, well, I'm not from Florida. I mean, I guess I know some of the big schools, like you see the names a couple times over. So, like, I don't know if someone from Pennsylvania is good. Like we were saying about the Canadian guy, like who's he even playing against? I don't know. So that's nice about recruiting in Southern California and Florida. Like I feel like it's all California and Florida guys. Way to go, USC. So yes, the other guy we were talking about was Jack Jones from Long Beach Poly. Now, this is let's see if I do it right, the 3rd year in a row that USC has gotten the best cornerback from Long Beach Poly. So that's really funny. It went Adoree Jackson, Amon Marshall, and now Jack Jones.
Adoree Jackson went to Sarah.
He did, that's right. I'm sorry. Maybe
it doesn't matter. Like
maybe my list was best cornerback in Southern California. Maybe that's what I was
that's probably what it is.
Yeah, there we go. But yes, so yeah, so it's gonna be great. I actually think he might start just right away. It'll be Amon Marshall and Jack Jones. I want to keep saying Jack Johnson. Sorry. And I think he's going to be real good. And yeah, they said he could play offense. I hope they don't try that. But but
Well, where are you gonna put um where are you gonna put Adoree Jackson in?
he could be a safety. He was a safety at the end of the year.
Oh man,
We could
he's
just go
gonna die,
nickel.
dude.
I don't care. Or you could spell
Okay.
him. It'll just I just would like two starting cornerbacks who could play cornerback.
Mm,
You're right. I did
I
kind
guess
of
that's
phase Adoree Jackson out there. But he can just do everything now. Now he can play in the defensive backfield. He can play wide receiver. He can return kicks. He can do it all
and
because
you're
now he has people to spell him.
and you're not even talking about Jamel Cook.
No, I didn't even get to him yet. That's Keyshawn's friend. That's Keyshawn Young's friend. They were a tandem.
Mm. According to 247, he's the number 2 athlete in the nation.
Wow. I didn't. I thought he was like a. I knew he was good because I mean you're not getting recruited by all these schools if you're not good. But I thought he was kind of like an afterthought. On well, good for Jameel Cook.
I'm so tired of USC.
I like the guy from Hawaii that they stole from Oregon. That was great.
Oh yeah,
Vaui Malepuye.
yeah.
Can't I'm doing the best I can here. So that's he's a 4-star running back recruit, but unfortunately for him, all the running back spot's kind of taken.
Ugh.
But he could redshirt or something and then be effective next year, next year. They got
I
two
understand.
they got two linemen from Mater Dei. I always think it's kind of weird when schools get two players at the same position from one school.
Uh-huh.
Like it's like I mean, maybe they're both probably really good.
And that school didn't win anything.
Yeah, it's kind of like, interesting.
That is one thing that kind of like gives me a little bit of hope about USC's receivers, like especially like Trevon Sidney and Tyler Vaughn. Although like I've heard both of them like were awesome in like all these all-star game practices and stuff. But like they played for Bishop Mott, and like Bishop Mott lost to St. John Bosco like 62 to like 3 or something. So it's like, how good can they be if they lost by 100 points to like another high school team? You know?
What I tell myself about receivers is that in high school they still need someone to get them the ball, so it's okay.
True.
It's okay if receivers are a little dodgy here and there because who's throwing them the ball? They probably should be playing quarterback because they're probably the best athletes on the team.
Maybe they should be like Jalen Elliott.
I know, just do it all. Just win the game.
Boom.
I also like CJ Pollard just because I like his name. I just
That
feel
is a
like
fun name.
I feel like that's a name that you're gonna see. You're just gonna see like, oh,
Yep.
CJ Pollard with the tackle, CJ Pollard with the
CJ
interception.
Pollard, that's a name that sounds like a player that's already on the team.
Yes, yes,
Like
it does.
I feel like CJ Pollard like played last year or something.
Well, I thought the same thing about DJ Morgan on Notre Dame. I was like, that is not. That's wrong. That's a typo, isn't it?
That's a good point.
It's like I know that name.
DJ Morgan, didn't he play last year?
Yeah, he's in what? He's in the league already.
Yeah.
I do have to say, there's one thing that made me kind of sad about USC's recruiting, and that is former USC Trojan great Tony Baselli. His son I think he was a 3-star guard, and he is now in the Florida State Seminoles, not
No.
the USC Trojans. I mean, he lives in
Oh.
Tony Baselli lives in Florida. He lives in
Oh,
Jacksonville,
okay.
so I mean, I get it, but
I get that.
I was just like, oh, and I can imagine the pressure of going over your dad was like one of the best offensive linemen ever. Like, there's already enough
Uh-huh.
pressure on this poor kid.
Yeah.
So I think his name's Andrew Baselli. Good luck at Florida State. They produce great offensive linemen. Probably
Good
made
luck.
a wise choice. Let's see, who else do I like for the Trojans? They have this quarterback, this guy named Matt Fink from Glendora,
Yeah.
and I was trying to read up on him, and he was listed as a D lineman as well as a quarterback. I'm
Oh,
like,
oh,
that's tough. That's a tough guy. But he'll probably never play. I
and
do
he
feel
could.
I do feel bad for like even Notre Dame had a quarterback from some guy from California. He had a fun name, Ian Cook or something. Ian Book, I don't remember.
Oh, Ian Book, yeah.
And it's like, poor guy. Like, he's not going to get any time. Like all Notre Dame's quarterbacks are young. All USC's quarterbacks are young. Like, I mean, you need quarterbacks, but still,
Hey, no one thought Deshaun Kaiser was going to get time either.
that is the truest statement.
And until he did.
Until he did, it worked out okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean There's another offensive lineman I kind of like. It's going to be EJ Price from Georgia. So like that's exciting for me that an offensive lineman from Georgia came all the way to USC. So I feel like he's got to be pretty good. Like they really had to work it. Like T. Martin must have been on the phones and the emails and the text messages.
I'm so annoyed with USC's class, man.
It's
Like you can't even have sleepers because there are no sleepers. Like everyone is good.
that was a problem when I was prepping for this. I mean,
USC has 5 3-star players. Notre Dame has 13. It's like, man, they all better be sleepers because if they're not, then oh no.
I forgot to ask you this in the Notre Dame section. Why did a long snapper get a scholarship?
Why?
Is that like a fun thing? Like he knows like he's someone's son or something? like how do you recruit a long snapper?
Because
like that was like a joke. That was like a serious question. Like how would like what goes into it? Like
they've actually done this before. It's like basically they have a scholarship to give, right?
mm-hmm.
So what they're doing is they're basically saying like, look, you can go, like they just want the best guy. That's basically what it is. Like they don't want to have to worry about it.
Oh, I see. Okay, but how do you know?
Well, I mean, obviously they scout him out and they look and they say, okay, like this guy, and it's like he's gonna go anywhere else. So they're thinking like, if we offer him a scholarship, because look, here's the thing. Notre Dame gives away a scholarship every single year, right? Like last year, remember the kid with the
he's a running back or something.
Yeah, and it's like a real feel good story, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's like they have scholarships to give to people. So it's like just give one to a long snapper that you like.
I guess it's true. Special teams is
you know
important.
What I'm saying? Yeah, like I mean, if you never have an errant snap or anything like that, like that's a good thing. So, like you're giving away scholarships regardless because someone always transfers or someone always gets kicked out of school or something always happens.
That's true.
You can't. So like there's scholarships just laying around. So just give it to the long snapper.
And maybe he's like a linebacker really, and they just call him a long snapper.
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
No, he is not. He is a long snapper. That is all he will do.
All right. Oh, I forgot to mention when we were talking about Jack Jones from Long Beach Poly Snoop was in his recruiting video.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, it was very exciting. Long Beach's own Snoop Doggy Dogg. Did any of the Notre Dame guys have a fun video? I didn't see any.
Dalen Hayes did.
What did he do?
Well, so he didn't. He did it when he committed. No, this was months ago.
Yeah, because he's on campus, right?
Yeah, this was in like October or September or something. He did like this whole Dark Knight thing. It was actually really good. Like I thought, like I was like, the production of this thing is quite impressive.
Like this might be an NCAA violation to get video this good.
I was just thought like it was so like the production of it. Like I said, like I mean, it was kind of cheesy. Like he was running through the streets of like Michigan or something, but it looks really good. So yeah, He had a video.
And one other note for the class of USC, the 2016 recruiting class. I think this is the first time in a long time that USC did not get the best player in Southern California. And then I went to UCLA, so that hurts.
Is that Mike Juarez?
Yeah.
So I actually saw him play
Oh, yeah?
his final high school game. Yeah. It was kind of by coincidence, but it was like, oh, hey, like, because I was going to see Maricosta play North Torrance. And I was asking the coach, I know the coach for Palo Verde High School. And he was like, oh, they've got Mike Juarez. Like, he's amazing. And I was like, oh, really? He's like, yeah, he's like top 5 in the country. I was like, oh. So, yeah, like, I didn't think he was that good.
Well, he's a linebacker.
He definitely wasn't, like, he definitely was, like, the best player on the field. There's no question. But, like, I was like, man, this is, like, a guy who, like, Alabama wants. But then he was like another guy, like he had to play quarterback. And frankly, like I thought his team, like his coaches did him a disservice because like they couldn't block. Like he was just getting his butt whipped on every play. Like the only touchdowns they scored were on broken runs. Like he's super fast for a guy his size. So that's probably why everyone likes him. But yeah, so I saw him play. Pretty good.
Oh. Well, yes, that made me sad that he is not on the Trojans. He's a Bruin.
He was committed too.
Well, it got rocky there, Greg, on the USC campus.
Well, you know what? That didn't keep them from crushing it once again.
Well, you know, when you have national champion T. Martin in charge of recruiting.
I just don't understand it, Michael. Like it frustrates me to no end that USC can just have a coach get fired for being drunk, and then they hire an interim coach who went 5-4, who nobody likes, and then there's just like Petros who's making fun of the program every single day on the radio, and they get 2 5-stars, 12 4-stars. And a bunch of 3-stars. Like, it's so annoying. And meanwhile, so they're 8th. Meanwhile, Notre Dame's 15th.
I think it's the beautiful Southern California sunshine. That's got to be the difference.
Well, I think I actually was thinking about this before we came on.
Okay.
About why Notre Dame can't get 5-star players, and this is part of why I think it is. So 5-star players, like just generally, like they're the best of the best, and I'm talking like 5-star, like everyone knows they're a 5-star.
Like the real 5, like
yeah, like Tommy Kramer, right? Like some people think he's a 5-star and some people don't. Some people think Dalen Hayes is a 5-star and some people don't. Like they're kind of on the fence. But like the real 5-stars, like Batiku, right? Like everyone wants that guy. Okay? Like that kind of player, like he expects, like I'm only gonna be in here for 3 years, right?
Right.
That's just his mindset. Like I'm gonna be in school for 3 years. So like he's not gonna go to a school like Notre Dame for 3 years where they make him take like 6 classes a semester so that he graduates in 4 years, because he's not graduating from any school, you know, in the first 3 years because he's going to the pros. So like I'm not graduating right now. I'm graduating later if I'm going to. So like why would I go and bust my butt to stay on track to graduate when I don't have a goal to graduate? I just want to concentrate on football so I can go to the NFL. And that's the mindset of a lot of 5-star players, right? I'm not looking, this isn't 4 years for me, this is 3 years. And
I mean, it makes sense.
Because, yeah, no, I'm not faulting it. I'm just saying, like, that's the mindset. That's why Notre Dame can't get these guys. Like, look at Will Fuller. Like, he left after his junior year, but, like, he didn't think when he was leaving high school that he was going to go pro after his junior year. There's no way. And Notre Dame got fortunate with Jalen Smith, who happened to go to Indiana school.
Yeah,
You
he's
know,
an
he went to
in-state guy, so that makes it a lot
yeah, he
easier.
he went to Fort Wayne, and Manti Te'o was a miracle. You
Yeah,
know,
that was weird.
but then he kind of he was just a strange dude. I mean, I don't want to say strange, but he was
A unique
unlike.
character.
Yeah, there, best way to put it. He was a unique human being. So like they get guys like that, but they don't get a lot of players who plan to be around for 4 years. Like the really good players, like they don't, and they're not going to spend that time in South Bend.
Well, I imagine winning a national title in the last 10 years probably helps a lot. For
What they need is
for no,
they need that, and then they need a guy who's just like hell bent on going to Notre Dame.
yeah, like he grew up watching Notre Dame and like that's what he wants to be a guy in the Fighting Irish. Like there's just not even it's not even worth recruiting, right? Like some
Right,
kid who just
right,
wants to go there and happens to be
right,
really good at football.
right.
But I mean, Stranger Things.
I mean, look at it's just like you're just you're required to find these sleepers, right? And Notre Dame's proven they're pretty good at that. So, it's not like a huge negative, but it's like it's a lot easier when you're getting these guys that everyone knows is really good.
You'd like to start with some good guys as opposed to finding
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
Like you'd rather coach up really good guys as opposed to coach up kind of good guys to make them, really good.
yeah. Like Demetrius Robertson. Like I don't have to project him. Like if he comes, he's the best player on the team, best receiver. Like
Right.
he just is. You know.
No, I fully understand.
Yeah.
Well, I think we covered it pretty well. We got all the big names in recruiting. We got where the classes were ranked, all that good stuff. And
Yeah.
these are names you're going to hear again, in spring practice when we get there, and in August when starting lineups are starting to be put together. So, remember these names, people. This is how it all
Right.
starts. This is where the good teams come from. Is the coaches plucking these kids out of high school, and selling them on the dream.
They're all Americans right now.
Definitely, definitely. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it for us today. I don't know when we'll be back. We'll have something fun for the people, just to keep producing fun podcasts for you because we like doing it.
We'll figure
Um,
something out, buddy.
we'll definitely figure something out. It's too fun not to do it. So thank you everyone for listening. Please go to iTunes and subscribe to the podcast. That way you will know when we do these new podcasts throughout the spring and summer. And while you're at iTunes, also write a review if you enjoy the podcast. If you want the most updated our podcast information and Notre Dame and USC news, we have a Facebook page, and that is linked on the website. So Facebook, type in Tiltingground, type in USC Notre Dame podcast. We're there. We got the market covered on USC Notre Dame podcasts.
Yes,
Greg,
perfect.
what's your Twitter? I've been doing a bad job of retweeting you. I'm sorry.
That's okay. At Greg2126.
And you've had a lot lately. You've been on
I've been
fire.
I've been on fire. I'm a fixture.
Yes, so we appreciate that. Any retweets by fun people?
Uh, Not by fun people,
Just the Notre Dame.
I guess. I mean, I get a bunch of favorites.
Hey,
A lot of
that's
Notre
good.
Dame writers are favoriting what I'm writing, so that's cool.
So if you like Notre Dame, Greg has information for you. If you like USC, you probably have to follow someone else other than me, but I may make you laugh every now and then. I'm Michael Muto on Twitter. Tilting Ground at Twitter. We have an NFL podcast that I guess is winding down because the Super Bowl just happened. But
Yes,
you should
sir.
listen to their recap show. I'm sure they'll do something about the draft, free agents. So listen to the NFL, Tilting Ground NFL podcast, and everyone have a good night, Greg. Thank you, and fight on.
Go Irish.